Yes, it's true. I budget my entire month in advance, and it is way easier than you think when you do a monthly budget review. I'm going to share with you my real March 2026 budget. You can plan your expenses too with a monthly budget review. I will show you exactly how. Why, hello, my yellow groupers. I'm Carly, a finance grad and the creator of Best Money Class Ever, where I teach how to pay off debt in 36 months or less, invest to retire a millionaire, and stress less about money. Grab a seat. I'm about to spill the financial tea. Are you ready for it? Monthly budget review is a quick check-in with where your money went, where you want it to go, and what needs to be adjusted. As Chief Financial Officer, you're looking at what's going on in your life. Then you put a dollar sign to your to-do list to make your goals a reality. You map out your income, expenses, and any big purchases that are coming up. So you can plan intentionally and make high-level decisions about what is important to you to spend guilt-free on what you want in your life. If the idea of a monthly budget is intimidating, then I recommend focusing on creating your best life. What do you want the next month to look like for you? What trips do you want to go on, projects to complete, or concert and events to attend? I'm going to show you my real March 2026 budget. You can create your March budget too with pen and paper. I'll be using my financial day planner, which is linked in the description below. Let's take a look. The first step in doing a monthly budget review is to look at your spending from the previous month. You want to track your spending from the previous month. And this is so big, especially if you are new to budgeting, you have no idea, like, I don't know what's going to happen in the next month. The easiest thing is to look at what happened in the previous month, and that will give you an idea of what's going to happen in the upcoming month. I typically do the March budget review at the end of the month. I know this video is coming out like mid-March. Hopefully you get the picture. I do want you to become Chief Financial Officer and manage your money like a boss. Take your power back with money. I recommend using financial statements. I freaking love financial statements. They really help you get a good feel for what's going on in your life. So, quick review, you can go back and watch how to create a budget from scratch. In a nutshell, you as CFO will be using your income statement, which is also known as a profit and loss or P&L. We want to have just a basic budget that is on repeat that we know is going to be profitable, aka you can spend guilt-free on what you want in your life right now. And then your statement of cash flow shows the inflows and outflows in a month. It is what actually happens. So if you want to gain accountability, become CFO. If you think of it like accountants literally account for the transactions in a business. So when you track, you are giving yourself so much accountability. I'm not going to go through a deep dive of my actual February spending. I'm going to do a whole separate video on that. You will be shocked with how much I did and how little I spent. Step one, though, what you'll do is you'll have your starting balance. I do like to track my spending weekly. If you don't do it weekly at the end of the month, this is a good time to touch base. And essentially, I typically have on my cell phone, I pull up my bank transactions. I keep things simple. I don't have like 5 million different credit cards. I'm not chasing points. I don't really care about that. Here, I just track what actually happens. So, inflows and outflows. The categories that I use on the income statement for the basic budget, you have your fixed expenses and your flex expenses. Most of what you spend is entirely known, literally fixed 100% in your control. We have your savings pre tax, your take home pay, your savings after tax, charity, housing, which I include your electricity, water, gas, trash, insurance, which would be anything after tax. So if you have health insurance after tax, car, renters, home insurance, life insurance, disability insurance, services are like your gym, your internet, your cell phone, and then your debt payments. I am debt free. I take the guesswork out of a budget with what I call weekly cash. I take out a set amount of cash and make it last for the week. For me, I take out $120 cash like clockwork and get my necessities first, groceries, gas, and then everything else is for the day-to-day spending. Medical, maintenance, projects, celebration, travel, and fun. Again, we're not going to go over my full out spending from February, but here you'll see I tracked what actually happened. So the income statement is the budget, what you think is going to happen. Cash flow is what actually happened. So in your March budget review, what you'll do is you will fill in the transactions. You'll see the ending balance, and I like to call this, as businesses do, also retain earnings, what you're keeping in the business of you to go for the next month. Step two is to reconcile your spending to make sure you're balance matches the bank balances, and then we have an accurate starting balance for the upcoming month. So you'll want to then enter in your bank balance and make sure what your records say match. And then what you'll do is reconcile. If there are any differences, you'll want to go through and find out what that difference was. And then you'll hop over in the March budget, and then you'll see here, this is what I thought the starting balance would be, and then it's actually a little bit different. The reason why it was different is because I transferred my self-pay, and that didn't actually go through until after March started. I'm going to reconcile and update that number here. So I had 1,044. So I'm updating that right there. The third step with the monthly budget review is to review what happened, what you budgeted for the last month, and what you actually spent. And then you'll want to look at what's going on in your life, review your plans for your life. Here I have my annual budget summary. I'm a fan of having an annual budget. We have my monthly budget, what I thought was going to happen, my monthly actual, which was the actual expenses, which is pulled from the statement of cash flow. The annual budget shows the total in each of the categories for the year. And then we have the year to date actual. Again, I'll do a deep dive on what these numbers actually were with a full report of my February spending. A few things that I do like to look though, as I have an extra tracker if there's anything in particular for the year that I want to track, and then my savings and investment progress tracker. I have a goal. I want to be a millionaire within 5 years. Right now, I have a net worth starting of the year of 556,000. If I do absolutely nothing, assuming 8% interest, I'll be a millionaire in 8 years. In order to bump that up to 5 years, I have to start investing. The last few years, I've kind of been coasting, which is just letting my investments grow and compound. And I've also actually been living like semi-retired and taking out some of the money. My goal for the year is to save $30,000. Does this feel like a pipe dream? A little bit. I am sharing this with you to have a little bit of accountability. So I want to work my way up to investing about $2,500 a month. March is going to be the month that I want to crank the investing back. So stay tuned and make sure and follow along on my journey. What that looks like here is maxing out my IRA and then a solo 401k plan, which would be $7,500 for the year and $22,500. Let's take a look. I like to spend my monthly budget review, reviewing mostly though my life and plans and dreams for the year. So let's take a look at my financial day planner classic planner. This is my financial day planner. It is a day planner and financial plan in one designed by yours truly. I tried to find something that worked for budgeting as a planner, and most of the budget planners basically they just have blank lines and you're like, I have no idea what my expenses are going to be. Part of the process that I recommend as CFO is to have an annual review. You look at the big picture for the upcoming year of what's just going on in your life, and then you break it down by quarter, and then like we're doing right now, we review for the upcoming month and make changes. So this is just a spread. It's a year at a glance broken down quarter by quarter. Here I just have my work dates and then deadlines and birthday parties and important things. And so I kind of just glance and see what's going on. I have everything broken down for you, and so there's no guessing. So in terms of most budgets, they'll have like a million different sinking funds for this thing and that thing, and I look at things differently. I like to just look at things with your flex expenses that do vary. Instead of doing sinking funds, just having it allocated for the upcoming year. So the categories for those are health, and then I have a medical regular care where I break down my regular care. The next category is maintenance. So we have down here a home maintenance schedule. I am not a homeowner. I previously had a RV, lived full time in an RV, and it was a lot of maintenance. Now I'm enjoying a maintenance-free with the home, a car maintenance schedule. So for me, I am kind of noting here a few things that are coming up. I do need to do a wiper blade replacement, some toll tags, an oil change. And then the projects, the next category is setting up my apartment. I also want to do an e-file organization, date an office, and then do holiday decorations. So I, moving from an RV, want to make my place a little bit more homey. So I want to do wreaths. So I'm going to do a Valentine's Day wreath. This season, Easter's coming up, so I want to get myself an Easter wreath. The next category is celebrations. One thing that I noted for the year I did want to do was an Easter egg decoration party. For my March review, I'm like, oh, gotta do that. And for travel, the big trip I want to do is South America. I also want to do a Pittsburgh trip. I have a few road trips. I have Wisconsin. My friend's wedding is coming up, so that's something that I'm going to have to look at closer. And this is the fun that I planned for the year. After I viewed what I wanted to do for the year, I have what I broke down for this upcoming quarter, and then I will hop over to the month, and this is where we're going to review the month. So I have therapy that I am doing, again, $0 copay. I have a new health insurance plan, so I do want to set up a PCP appointment to establish care. And then I have some supplements and allergy meds. I'm going to use my weekly cash. I take out physically $120 a week, and I'm going to buy that with a weekly cash. For maintenance, I do have toll tag, oil change, license plate. My license plate was stolen. Funny story with the license plate. So my license plate was stolen, and I've been putting this on my to-do list to figure out what I need to do. Finally figured out I need to actually call the police. I called the police and did a non-emergency report. They were like, make sure you remove the other license plate on the back of the car because only the front was stolen. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. Would have thought like not want to drive around without any license plate at all. And she's like, you have to remove it. If you don't remove it, your license plate that's still there is going to be flagged. You will get pulled over and the police will approach you gun in hand. It's kind of scary. And I was like, whoa. So I immediately grabbed my screwdriver and unscrewed my back license plate. I don't want to have a gun pulled on me by a cop. Apparently it is urgent, like people actually steal these plates and then they think that I'm the thief. I figured out it's gonna be $6.50 to get my license plate replaced, and that'll probably be a weekly cash expense. Another big thing I am working on this quarter is an e-file organization. If you guys have any tips on organizing your photos and files, let me know in the comments. I'm gonna try and do like 10 minutes a day. And then celebration, a friend had a birthday and she wanted to do a Renaissance fair. So the ticket for that is $33. I have here some other birthdays. It's my mom and dad's anniversary. One of my friends might want to go to a winery or do a tea party or something fun for her birthday. So I put that there. I'm not sure. I'm going to have an Easter egg party. I'm going to have my friends over. It's going to be cake, cocktails, and we are going to decorate Easter eggs. I do have to buy a flight for a friend's wedding. That's in May. I'm going to buy that this month and I estimate it'll be about $320. I wanted to join a pickleball league. That was $60. A few random things that I want to buy for fun. A helmet because my visor on my helmet just fell off. I want some new classic white shoes. I gotta get some new undies. I want some more rings, get a watch and a bracelet. Most of these over here I'm gonna be getting with my weekly cash. Don't allocate an extra amount for that. Part of the review, I just look also at my calendar. One hot tip is if you are organized, you can spend less. So for example, with the pickleball, there's a deadline for early registration. You save like 10 or so bucks. The Renaissance Fair, got therapy, and eye doctor. Shout out to Walmart because I thought I'd be paying a copay or visit every month, but I'm not. Apparently with Walmart, you go once, which I did in January, and then that is your valid ticket. Free follow-ups for 90 days. I'm like, all right. I am working on upping my Instagram game, and so I'm doing an Instagram training. The Ultimate Guide to Managing Money is my free intro to best money class ever. I really hope if you've been meaning to get your finances in order, join me live on the 24th, and then best money class ever officially starts. The Q2 is starting the last day of March. I have my friends' birthdays. For the notes, I kind of write over here my top priorities with my personal life and then my top priorities with work. So I want to work out 4 times a week. I really want to work on having good habits with my morning and night routine. I know that's like so cliche. And I also want to do 3 fun events. I want to add an element of fun to my life. I am doing a dinner club. So that was one of the things the Renaissance Festival, and then the Easter egg party is going to be a fun thing as well. For work, I've got to file my taxes. I want to be organized with the e-file. Specifically, I want to do a content creation spreadsheet to track everything. I know a lot of people get overwhelmed with planners. A few months in, they're like, wait a second, I want to start planning. So I'm actually going to update a Q2 starting planner. So your year begins in April and you can start this in April and not feel guilty for having 3 months blank. I also want to watch all of the training videos for this Instagram thing. So that's kind of my review for the month. The next step in the March monthly budget review is to then plan. Now that I've reviewed what's going on in my life, I'm just going to plan and put a dollar sign to my to-do list on the actual March budget. I do have an annual budget, so my income and fixed expenses are already forecasted for the upcoming year. Then it's just basically going through what my I call it flex life reinvestment. On the P&L or income statement, you do want a profitable budget. What you will look at in terms of profitability is I have your income and then you have your fixed expenses minus also the flex expenses, which I call weekly cash for your operating, like your kind of necessities. Once you subtract your income minus your fixed expenses minus your operating expenses, that is your net income. Your net income, you as CFO can choose to reinvest and spend guilt-free on what's going on in your life, or you can keep it as retained earnings for it to carry through for the next month. I am working up to having a take-home pay of $5,000. That's the goal by the end of the year. I also want to work up to investing about $2,500. I'm going to start with the goal of doing $625 for my IRA. Here are my housing expenses. I got 10 weeks free, so the prorated amount is just $874. This is the average of what I expect to spend on electricity, water, trash. I have pest and HOA and these random fees. Next up is my insurance. So I have renters, car, and health. My car insurance increased, so I'm going to enter the new amount here, and that will update for the upcoming month. I have my health insurance. I have $65 for internet, $37.88 for my gym. I don't have any debt. Each week I take out that set $120 cash, and then I do track separately. Categories for life and reinvestment are medical, maintenance, projects, celebration, travel, and fun. I was anticipating to have an eye doctor follow-up appointment, which I do have, but there is not a copay for that. So I'm going to adjust that. I am anticipating doing a $50 refill on a toll tag, $50 on an oil change. For the projects, I am doing an e-file organization, which is not really going to cost me anything. For the celebrations, one thing that did come up is the Ren Fair. I did not know about that before the year started, so I'm adding that in here. I have other birthdays with friends. I just using my weekly cash. I do need to get my flight to Wisconsin, which I'm estimating about $320. I also want to kind of plan the itinerary. I'm considering maybe doing like one-way legged flights, so maybe doing a stopover in Chicago and staying a night there just to have a little bit of fun. At the beginning of the year, I knew I wanted to join the pickleball league. The estimate for that was $60. I really also wanted to see Cardi B. One year I wanted to see Usher, and I waited till the very last minute and they didn't sell out, so they reduced the tickets dramatically, and I was like, oh, I'll do the same thing with Cardi B. That did not happen. Cardi B actually was selling out and the tickets were skyrocketing, so that didn't happen. We're changing that from the budget. So that is my March budget review. This is the income and the expenses that I plan on having for the upcoming month. As a recap for my operating expenses, if you're like, what about groceries and gas? I take out that $120 and I make it last for the week. I am here to hype you up. Now it's time for a best money class ever money win. And this one is for you, especially if you're like, oh, I don't want to have a budget. I don't want to look at my numbers. I think you will absolutely love it. Here is what someone wrote in to say. Hey, Carly, your class has been amazing. I'm loving the classes, workbooks, assignments. They all build really well off each other. This should be a must-take class for any adult. I'm embarrassed it took me this long to get my finances in order, but better late than never. The thing I like most about class is the clarity and self-assurance I have gained. I finally feel like I am in control of my money and I am no longer afraid to confront my finances. I can be CFO. In fact, I need to be CFO because it's my money. The lens you demonstrate of being CFO with the financial statements, revenue, etc. allows me to look at my finances from the outside in a non-emotion, non-reactive way. This framework takes away the feeling of me being lost inside the numbers, feeling overwhelmed and defeated. Instead, I'm outside of the numbers, evaluating and analyzing. I'm leading the money and the money isn't leading me. This is the lens I need because I'm very prudent with other people's money. I do budgets at work, no problem. But when it comes to my own, I get totally overwhelmed and stressed. I'm learning to see the big picture while still enjoying the small things. When I want to splurge on something, I don't do it immediately. I go back to my budget, and if I can find any wiggle room, if I don't, I will wait until I have the money. I thought I'd feel sad and deprived, but instead, internal me is like, nope, I can't. I need all my numbers to be on track so I can reach my long-term goals, because now I have a crystal clear plan, not an idea, but a real strategy I have devoted hours and hours and hundreds of dollars to develop. I've got skin in the game, and I am dedicated to making the changes to healthy, sustainable finances. Wow. Oh my gosh, imagine having this confidence with money. Imagine ditching the overwhelm, ditching the stress, and really being CFO. If she can do it, so can you. Thank you, my yellow groupers, for watching. Every show has a dope name that they call their listeners. I'm calling you my yellow groupers. We have slow starts, we get behind, we get off course, we get thrown down, but we don't ever give up. Nothing comes easy. Life does not go as planned. The cards are stacked against us. The hands we are dealt are not ideal. The trials we have, that's what makes us stronger, and that is where our grit is born. I hope you have an amazing monthly budget review for March. I hope you plan your best month yet with a March monthly budget review. Again, you can do this with pen and paper, or if you want the exact tools that I use, you can grab my financial day planner, which is linked in the description below. If you've been meaning to get your finances in order, now's the time, and this is the best place to start. Here, you'll overcome analysis paralysis with the finance plan. This is the roadmap that you've been looking for. Pay off debt and invest to retire a millionaire, even if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you have no idea where to start. Stay tuned. Next episode, I'm going to share my actual February spending. You're not going to believe how much I did and how little I spent doing it. I'm here to totally de-influence you and normalize living below your means. I am really curious and would love to hear from you. Did you have a March monthly budget review? How do you plan your income and expenses for the month ahead? Spill your financial tea in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify. Did you like this video? Then like it and make sure and share it with your friends who also geek out over personal finance. Leave me a 5-star review wherever you're listening to. It really helps others who are on a mission to pay off debt and invest find this show. Best money class ever, my signature live and virtual 4-week personal finance class is only offered once a quarter, and the next class starts soon. Want in? You can take the intro to class for free. Head on over to bestmoneyclassever.com and save your spot now. You'll instantly get a 20-page downloadable guide with the finance plan. As always, remember, you only live once. Be smart with your money now. I'll catch you later. Bye.